Right after our main character Ye Shuang dies, this brilliant but mentally unstable scientist drops her entire life's work for a wild, self-destructive path of revenge. She actually avenged him, but then boom, he wakes up and realizes he has regressed to the very first time he saw her have an episode. Instead of running away in terror, he steps up and holds her scarred arm. He softly asks her what she is researching. She pauses, then mutters, "Researching Ye Shuang." And Ye Shuang is literally our main character's name. But first, let's rewind to the moment he drowned. Right as the water took him, he saw the smug face of his trash stepbrother Wang Ke, sneering that once he was dead, the family fortune and Su Qingxue would finally be his. Only then did Ye Shuang realize that this seemingly weak and innocent stepbrother was actually a deep scheming villain with massive ambition. Talk about a crazy betrayal. His hatred was so strong that after he died, his soul refused to move on, floating above as he watched Wang Ke cry fake tears to tell their sick mother the tragic news. The shock literally killed her, wiping out the entire Ye family. Just like that, Wang Ke and his trash father took over everything. And then came the grand wedding day, where the villain stepped in to marry Ye Shuang's fiancée, Su Qingxue. It was a grand event, and Wang Ke was grinning like a total victor. Honestly, for Su Qingxue, this was just a heartless business deal anyway. She didn't care who she married, as long as they were a Ye. At least, that is what he thought. But when he saw the pure love and tenderness in her eyes, he realized the heartbreaking truth. She and Wang Ke had been hooking up behind his back long ago. Boundless rage and regret nearly tore his soul apart. But right during the wedding, a Bugatti suddenly crashes onto the lawn at lightning speed. I did not see this coming. With a screeching crash, the guests panic and scramble for safety, but the car doesn't even slow down, circling the venue like a wild beast. It drifts around, completely destroying the gorgeous wedding setup until everything is in absolute ruins. Finally, the driver slams on the brakes right in front of the groom and bride. The door swings open and a gloomy, completely unhinged woman steps out. It's Chen Qing, the legendary genius scientist who had gone missing years ago. The last time she was in the news was 2 years ago when she locked herself away for a project she called her life's ultimate pursuit, saying her life would be meaningless without it. After that, she vanished from the face of the earth. Ye Shuang never expected her to crash this wedding, especially not to get bloody revenge for him. Clutching a sharp blade, her eyes are filled with absolute despair and hatred as she charges straight at Wang Ke without a single second of hesitation. He tries to run, but she grabs him instantly. In just 2 seconds, her razor-sharp knife slices his throat. She then stabs him countless times in a frantic rage, crying and screaming, "You killed him!" She screams that she didn't even dare to look at him, yet this trash killed him. She tells him to rot in hell. Wang Ke is completely dead. With the groom dealt with, she turns her bloodshot eyes to the fleeing bride, snarls, "You won't escape either," and pounces like a predator while someone panics and calls the cops. As sirens wail under a dark, rainy sky, blood washes over the pavement. Chen Qing suddenly loses all her strength, falling to her knees and sobbing that her research is gone. She cries that her life's pursuit is lost, and now she is coming to join Ye Shuang. But then, boom! He opens his eyes and he's back at age 18. No blood, no wedding. There is only a tightly closed door in front of him. His heart pounds in pure disbelief as he stares at that familiar wooden door with a cute bear doorbell hanging on the frame. He remembers gifting that doorbell to Chen Qing back then to get on her good side. She was a quiet transfer student who always spaced out, yet her grades completely cleared his. Out of curiosity and envy, he did everything to get close to her for tutoring. On this exact day, the class president sent him over to invite her to a party. In his past life, when he came to invite her, he accidentally caught her having a severe manic episode, muttering to herself in absolute madness. He was so terrified that he bolted. He ran away like a coward, only finding out later that she suffered from severe schizophrenia. After that day, they drifted apart completely. In fact, she transferred to a different class the very next day, actively avoiding him as if she knew her illness had scared him off. Taking a deep breath to calm his racing heart, he decides to do things differently this time. He presses the doorbell, and when Chen Qing opens it, she looks surprised. She softly calls his name. Seeing the slender young girl standing right there, carrying that sweet, familiar scent of gardenias, his throat instantly tightens and he can barely hold back his tears. He chokes out an invite to the class party. She frowns slightly but tells him to come inside. Once in, he notices security cameras, something he totally missed before. She pours him a glass of water, staring closely at his red eyes. He can see a sudden flash of worry and protective anger hidden deep in her gaze. He takes the glass and smiles, shaking his head to assure her he just had a minor argument with his mother. She stays quiet before asking if he is still going. Hearing his yes, she smiles softly and tells him to wait while she changes. He sits on the sofa, but his heart starts racing because her bedroom is where she has her episodes. He knows her schizophrenia triggers severe hallucinations and voices, so when muffled, frantic talking starts coming from her room, his hands begin to shake despite trying to prepare himself. His hand holding the water glass trembles. Taking a deep breath, he forces himself to stand up on shaky legs, quietly and carefully creeping toward her bedroom door. He gently pushes the door open to see Chen Qing pacing frantically. Her face twists in absolute distress as she argues with herself, screaming that this research angle will absolutely never work. She mutters that this angle is too difficult, takes too long, and has zero results. On the bed, her fresh clothes are laid out, and she has already taken off her jacket. That's when he sees her bare arms, completely covered in horrific scars. The sight breaks his heart as the phantom arguments in her head grow even louder. Sweat drips from his palms. Finally, Chen Qing falls onto the mattress, clutching her head in absolute defeat, muttering about how she is supposed to solve this research. After saying that, she sits there in dead silence for a long time. Holding his breath, he slowly steps into the bedroom and calls her name, but she doesn't react. She seems totally trapped in her own mind. Staring at the painful, overlapping scars on her arms, his heart aches, and he reaches out with absolute gentleness. He gently wraps his fingers around her wrist, softly asking what she is researching. Instantly, her entire body goes completely stiff. She slowly turns her head with a blank, robotic stare. She gazes at him, trying to recognize him, until a sudden spark of pure joy flashes in her eyes. She grabs his hand back with desperate strength and whispers, "I am researching Ye Shuang." His heart literally stops. She is researching him? Honestly, his nerd switch flips the second he starts researching, but then he stops. Wait, who are you? You and him look exactly like the one I like. Chen Qing desperately begs for advice on confessing, terrified his mental illness will ruin everything. Snapping out of his shock, Ye Shuang gently urges him to confess. Honestly, Ye Shuang used to crush on him. But fear and time buried those youthful feelings. Hearing this advice, Chen Qing's eyes light up. Sudden excitement drains him completely. Not wanting to be alone, Chen Qing only falls asleep after Ye Shuang promises to stay. Everything is unlocked. Yet Chen Qing's arms are covered in self-harm scars, living completely alone in this massive, empty house. Low-key heartbreaking, guys. When the class monitor texts, Ye Shuang cancels their plans. He quietly draws the curtain shut. Then his phone buzzes with a message. It is his mom. She is bringing his toxic stepbrother and stepfather home today. In his past life, these two fake saints fooled everyone completely. But this time, no shot. Arriving at his villa, Ye Shuang spots the two gold-digging leeches waiting. Seeing their greedy grins, Ye Shuang orders his bodyguard to plow right into them. The driver is utterly shell-shocked. The bodyguard freezes, but Ye Shuang only remembers his past brutal death. Wang Ke used him as a stepping stone, while the stepbrother harbored pure envy. They literally pushed him into the ocean to drown in his past life, so he has absolutely zero mercy now. The bodyguard hits the gas. Boom! The greedy leeches are sent flying. Instantly playing the victim, Ye Shuang sob screams that the brakes failed. His mother comforts her terrified son, completely ignoring the bleeding villains. Paramedics quickly cart the duo off to the hospital. The bodyguard is terrified. But Ye Shuang reassures him he won't lose his job over this. Upstairs, Ye Shuang wonders if Chen Qing has checked his cameras. Last time, Chen Qing saw him flee on camera and withdrew forever.
He sends a warm voice note, unaware Chen Qing is sobbing on his floor.
Chen Qing knows his dark secret is out. He clutches a razor-sharp blade. Losing control, he cuts his arm again and again in pure panic. Why did his crush have to see him like this? Suddenly, Ye Shuang's gentle voice note plays. Chen Qing freezes, trembling. It is just a single cold letter. Ye Shuang is completely baffled. "Why so cold?" he calls him. Hearing his muffled voice makes him suddenly feel a bit shy. He completely chickens out and invites him to a haunted house instead to break the ice. Emphasizing it is just the two of them, Ye Shuang waits in suspense. After a strange crash on the line, Chen Qing softly agrees. He asks to meet at noon instead. Ye Shuang hangs up, uneasy. Chen Qing never sleeps in. Something is definitely wrong here. Not wanting to trigger him, he starts researching online. He looks up schizophrenia. Knowing his mother passed away when he was only 10, the genetic links are tragic. Was his father the trigger? Living under constant surveillance day and night? No wonder he is at his limit. Ye Shuang stares at her chat with Chen Qing, letting out a heavy sigh. This time, she is determined to save him. The hours fly by until evening. That is when her mom finally returns from the hospital. Earlier, a bodyguard texted her that the mom already discovered the car brakes did not fail by accident. The terrified guard even begged Ye Shuang to protect him from her family. Suddenly, a knock rattles her door. Her mom asks if she is asleep, then walks in. She does not ask questions, waiting for her daughter to confess. Ye Shuang stands there, quietly admitting she simply dislikes them. Her mom demands a reason, so Ye Shuang takes a deep breath. She explains she had a dream. Her mom married Wang Ke, making Wang Ke her stepbrother. For 10 years, she genuinely respected the man as a father. She loved Wang Ke like a real brother, but Wang Zichuan poisoned her mom to secure the wealth. Then Wang Ke hooked up with Ye Shuang's fiancé and threw her into the ocean. She drowned while they happily stole the family fortune. Talk about final boss energy from these absolute trash villains. Her nails dig deep into her palms, but the physical sting is nothing compared to her emotional pain. Her mom stares back, asking if she did all this over a simple dream? Ye Shuang's voice chokes up. Her father died early, leaving her mom to raise her. She begs her mom to remember her true character. She would never act so recklessly without reason. If she had not lived through that nightmare, she would never have ordered a hit on them. She has never been an impulsive person. Her calculating nature was inherited directly from her mom. Suddenly, her mother grips her chair tightly, her sharp gaze locking onto her daughter. The room falls silent. Beneath the surface, the rage is boiling. Despite trying to hide it, pure hatred leaks from Ye Shuang's eyes. Seeing this, her mother's eyes turn red, and she suddenly curses. After venting her frustration, the mother closes her eyes to steady her breathing. Ye Shuang cannot hold back anymore. Her vision blurs and tears finally stream down her face. Her mom opens her arms, pulling her into a tight, comforting embrace. Her voice shakes as she whispers that she is so sorry for letting her suffer. She blames herself for being blind to their dark nature. With fierce determination, she promises those horrors will never happen. Honestly, this emotional payoff hits so different. The next morning, her mom is already gone to handle the situation. The scheming father and son do not stand a chance now, so Ye Shuang is not worried about them at all. After all, raw power and money can easily crush petty schemes. Honestly, her only real concern is Chen Qing. They actually plan to hang out today, which has her pretty anxious. But he is running late. Just as she goes to call him, Chen Qing hops out of a cab, running up to apologize for the delay. He gasps that an emergency held him up, asking if she waited long. She notices sweat beads on his forehead. It is a cool day, so running a little shouldn't cause this. She hands him a tissue, softly lying that she only just arrived herself. Chen Qing wipes his forehead and offers a remarkably warm smile, asking where she wants to go first. She smiles, grabbing his wrist to pull him along. She completely misses how his entire body stiffens up. There were tons of great spots to check out in the West District. Since it is already midday, she decides to drag him straight into a haunted house. She's totally that classic type who is easily terrified but absolutely loves horror. She spends the entire time screaming her head off while clinging to him. Chen Qing, however, is completely unfazed, gently keeping her calm every time she jumps.
Reaching the very last room, the atmosphere turns pitch black and dead silent. The only sound left is their own heavy breathing.
Clinging to his arm, she peers blindly into the darkness. He gently pats her hand, whispering that she is safe with him. Desperate to distract herself, she blurts out a question.
She suddenly asks why he has not confessed to her yet. Chen Qing freezes instantly, leaving her shocked at her own sudden boldness. But since she already said it, she doubles down.
She confesses her feelings directly, but before she can finish, Chen Qing suddenly covers her mouth. He whispers that something is moving right ahead of them.
Her focus shifts instantly as she stares into the shadows. She cannot see his face, completely unaware that he is currently pale, trembling, and looking absolutely terrified. He warns her not to move because a ghost is approaching. Her body freezes in fear, but then he suddenly lets go of her and takes a quiet step backward. Terrified, she grabs his arm, begging him not to leave her. He promises he won't, but she still feels incredibly anxious, too scared to move an inch in the dark. Silence. Then, a strange rustling sound echoes right behind them, sounding like tearing plastic. Terrified, she whispers his name. A few agonizing seconds pass before he finally steps closer, reassuring her that the ghost has moved on. She blinks, slowly realizing something. She accuses him of tricking her. Chen Qing lets out a quiet laugh, admitting he got caught. Ye Shuang is instantly huffy, calling him out. She pouts that he has definitely picked up some bad habits. He just points toward the exit. She is still slightly annoyed until they finally step outside into the light. Seeing his warm smile, her annoyance instantly evaporates, but her heart sinks. He looks so pale. She forces a smile, suggesting they take a break since the haunted house was so intense. He agrees, and once they sit down at a quiet cafe, he heads to the restroom. As he turns around, she catches a quick glimpse of a silver foil packet in his pocket. She immediately recognizes it as medication, causing her stomach to drop. She clenches her hands, knowing his condition requires strict medication. Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking. Did she make a mistake by inviting him out today? Chen Qing returns looking completely normal, spending the entire afternoon trying his absolute best to make her happy. But when she suggests checking out a popular murder mystery game, he surprisingly declines, admitting he is tired. Though he looks fine physically, she spots a deep, hidden exhaustion in his eyes. She immediately changes her tune, realizing how late it actually is, and suggests they head home. As they leave, a breathtaking, fiery red sunset paints the sky above. Captivated by the view, she snaps a few quick photos of the beautiful sky. Surrounded by the warm sunset, the cool breeze, and the boy she loves, a sudden playful idea strikes her. She quickly turns the camera toward Chen Qing, teasingly telling him to smile. She snaps a candid photo before he can react, then immediately switches over to video mode. She asks him if he likes her. Chen Qing, who was about to stop her, freezes completely. Looking at his stunned expression, she smiles and confesses her love. Through the lens, she watches his expression turn visibly anxious. Peeking from behind her phone, she looks directly into his eyes and softly repeats that she truly loves him. Ye Shuang confesses she has liked him since he first tutored her, asking why he kept coming to school. Hearing this, Chen Qing's eyes shake as he stares deeply at her. They lock eyes, completely tuning out the noisy traffic and crowd around them. The world completely fades around them. After a long, quiet pause, pure joy finally bursts in Ye Shuang's eyes. But a sudden phone call cuts Chen Qing off. His face darkens instantly. Sensing something is wrong, Ye Shuang watches him hang up as his face goes completely blank. He grabs her arm. Recording phone and stops the video. Just like that, it feels over. Ye Shuang is left utterly confused as Chen Qing looks down, looking incredibly bitter. He asks if she is not afraid of him, since she saw everything and knows he's a sick madman, but she firmly replies she is not scared. Stunned by her determination, his eyes turn red, but he quickly deflates. He sadly tells her not to say things like that. He is terrified. Ye Shuang instantly realizes he is scared she is just acting on a whim, afraid of having and then losing. Desperate to show her feelings are real, she steps forward to hug him, but Chen Qing retreats, whispering that they should just be classmates and not cross the line. He begs her not to push him, quickly apologizes, and literally runs away, leaving her completely baffled.
If he likes her and wanted to confess, why is he backing out now? Meanwhile, Chen Qing runs far away before finally stopping to catch his breath. His phone keeps buzzing in his pocket with that same dreaded number. He really does not want to answer, but he finally picks up. His father demands to know why he did not answer, why his location is off, and why the security cameras are unplugged. Pure suffocation. Earlier this morning, when he went to the hospital for medicine, his father had already called, furiously demanding to know why. He keeps hurting himself, even asking if he likes Ye Shuang. He brutally mocks him, asking if his little classmate knows he is mentally ill, self-harms, and has to take medicine daily. His father sneers that Ye Shuang only comforted him out of pure pity. He warns Chen Qing not to ruin his life over love like his useless mother did. Those toxic words still ring in his ears as his father's voice continues to blare through the phone, snapping that Chen Qing has gotten too bold lately. He accuses Chen Qing of talking back and defying him just because of a few harsh comments, even daring to unplug the cameras and turn off the GPS. He asks if Chen Qing wants to die out there, claiming he only does this because his mother was a ruthless psycho, forcing him to deal with a crazy kid. He sneers that a normal girl like Ye Shuang would never love a psycho and that he does not deserve her. Hearing this, Chen Qing suddenly lets out a creepy laugh. It is so chilling that people walking by actively avoid him. He cackles, threatening to turn the cameras back on right now just so his dad can watch his dead body. He dares his father to track his location, mocking whether he will find him in the river or the morgue. He gets completely hysterical, screaming that he just wants to die. His father goes dead silent. Chen Qing's laughter only grows louder, asking if he should get hit by a car or jump off a bridge to make him happy. His father panics, breathing heavily over the line. Listening to it, Chen Qing smiles coldly and warns him never to let him hear Ye Shuang's name again. Just hearing his toxic father utter her name feels like absolute defilement to him. With a sharp beep, his father slams down the phone. Looking up at the sunset, he whispers her name. Honestly, hearing her say she liked him made his blood boil with pure excitement. But reality hurts. He is absolutely terrified of hurting her. Sobbing on the ground, he is torn between desperately wanting her and protecting her. Honestly, for him, living is just too hard. Since that day, Chen Qing completely stops coming to school. Swamped with classes, Ye Shuang can only wait until the weekend to check on him. But he is gone. He moved out, and even the cute little bear doorbell has been removed, leaving only a cold, bare black door. With a heavy heart, she heads home. Her mom notices her gloomy mood, asking if school is too stressful, but Ye Shuang just silently shakes her head. At dinner, her mom drops some major gossip on Wang Zixuan and Wang Ke. Turns out a deep background check reveals Zixuan has been actively targeting rich older women. Her mom pauses awkwardly, and Ye Shuang gives her a look. Honestly, her mom was actually the easiest target among all those foolish victims. Looking embarrassed, her mom quickly changes the subject to Wang Ke, who basically inherited his father's shady playboy methods and manipulative personality. He uses his good looks at school to charm rich girls, desperately dreaming of marrying into a wealthy family to secure a lifetime of luxury. Since those rich women are married, her mom quietly leaked the affair to their husbands, making sure to keep her own identity completely anonymous. It is pretty embarrassing after all. Ye Shuang suddenly looks up and asks her mother to look into Chen Qing's family background instead. Her mother instantly grows suspicious, demanding to know if she likes him. Ye Shuang honestly admits she does, explaining that he completely vanished right after her confession. Absolutely not! Her mother instantly shuts it down, warning her that the Chen family's dark past was a massive scandal that everyone knew about. She admits she hated the idea of them being desk mates, but did not want to interfere. Ye Shuang quickly interrupts, demanding to know what happened. After giving her a stern look, her mother sighs and explains that the Chen family is originally from Jiangqing, where an arranged marriage produced Chen Qing. His mother, Song Shu, loved his father Chen Xiaofei deeply since childhood, but he was a serial cheater. When she caught him red-handed, she completely snapped. She became hysterical, taking out all her rage and frustration on a young Chen Qing. Things got even worse when she discovered his father had a secret illegitimate child. He completely lost his mind, ordering a hit on his mistress and illegitimate child, castrating Chen Xiaofei, and finally locking himself and Chen Qing inside to die together. At 10 years old, Chen Qing instinctively hid, desperate to survive, and
witnessed Uncle Song's brutal end. This insane drama trended for a whole month, and Chen? Even with both powerful families pulling strings, the massive scandal couldn't be buried. A brutal custody war erupted for Chen Qing. His biological father, Chen Xiaofei, was desperate for an heir since he couldn't have more kids.
Ultimately, custody went to the dad. To compensate Chen Qing, the wealthy Song family promised him a third of their massive fortune once he took over. But here's the plot twist. Years of extreme abuse and the sheer trauma of watching his mother pass away pushed Chen Qing completely over the edge. He developed severe schizophrenia while simultaneously showing mind-blowing genius. Honestly, the poor guy was just a broken kid who deserved so much better. Everyone back then thought he hit the jackpot, but he was actually the ultimate victim, carrying a dark illness that only got worse over the years. His episodes grew wildly violent, forcing him to transfer schools after accidentally injuring someone in his hometown. No wonder Ye Shuang's mother panicked when she heard they were deskmates. Her mom even hired private security and forbade her from falling for him. Hearing this, Ye Shuang finally understood why Chen Qing refused to play that murder mystery game before. The story literally forced players to witness a mother's tragic death. It was his worst nightmare, and he just couldn't face it. He wasn't avoiding her out of malice. He was terrified he might hurt her during an episode. When her mother demanded she stay away, Ye Shuang refused. She desperately wanted to run to him, but finding him was impossible. Chen Qing was a master at disappearing when he wanted to. In her past life, he watched her from the shadows without being spotted. Now, even her private investigators couldn't find a trace. She even visited the elite university he was fast-tracked into, but it was a dead end. Why was he running so hard from her? Frustrated, she vented to a friend who poured her a drink and laid out the facts. It's simple. The guy runs because you actually like him now. Before, when she ignored him, he could control his urges to avoid making her hate him. But now that she was actively pursuing him, his self-control was crumbling. He deeply craves her, but his intense mental illness makes him terrified of hurting her. To protect her, his avoidant attachment style kicks in, forcing him to isolate himself completely. Her friend warned her that loving him would be an uphill battle, constantly worrying about his severe schizophrenia flaring up and causing chaotic outbursts. She would have to constantly reassure him of her love and handle his deep, fragile insecurities. If she gave up and backed out midway, the trauma would literally destroy him. It was a massive commitment, but as Ye Shuang stared into her glass, she remembered how he once asked if he could study her. He had spent years analyzing her like a science project, but he did it because he desperately wanted a real human connection with her. That was his silent cry for help. Her resolve hardened. She was going to save him, unlike in her past life where she only focused on work. Back then, she met countless brilliant and beautiful people, but none of them ever made her heart race the way he did. Their brief high school connection had only grown more intense with time. After months of searching, she finally managed to track him down. She cornered him on his new college campus. He looked thinner and shrouded in a dark, gloomy aura, completely different from his high school days. Chen Qing froze, staring at her in sheer disbelief. When she called his name, he softly whispered that he thought he was just having another beautiful hallucination. He knew where she was supposed to go, proving he still tracked her. Ye Shuang had chosen her college wisely, but she was here now. She had delayed her own enrollment just to catch him. Flustered, Chen Qing tried to warn her away, begging her to stay safe. Ye Shuang simply leaned in and kissed him. The poor guy froze instantly, completely short-circuiting, as if his soul had left his body. Holding his hand, she confessed her love over and over. When she asked if he would ever hurt her, he shook his head violently. Trembling, he admitted he could not control his illness and tried to flee, but she held him tight, offering a sweet compromise. She suggested he only hide during his episodes and return when he felt better. Confused, he asked if that was really allowed. She smiled and asked how he would know without trying. Under her warm gaze, he finally nodded. Ye Shuang immediately took a 2-week break to stay with him. They moved into his apartment, but he kept his distance, acting like a polite roommate. One night, she pretended to be drunk to test him. But the moment she tried to kiss him, he nervously pushed her away. He warned her that getting too happy or excited could trigger his episodes. Laughing, she hugged him and teased him to just restrain his happiness next time because she really wanted to kiss him.
Chen Qing nodded, unable to hide his massive grin. When she held his hand and asked if even this made him happy, he eagerly nodded.
Seeing his blushing face was adorable, but if she teased him too much, he would lock himself in his room and refuse to speak.
She would wait patiently outside his door. When he finally emerged and apologized, she would playfully steal another quick kiss.
Over time, he grew comfortable with her physical touch, but she noticed he never expressed his own needs, only endlessly spoiling her.
This self-sacrificing habit worried her. When she packed her bags to return to her own campus, he looked devastated, but quietly nodded and let her go.
Ye Shuang deliberately waited downstairs for 30 minutes before heading back up, only to find Chen Qing violently smashing everything in his apartment.
He was sobbing, convinced she had abandoned him because he was too broken. His internal monologue was a heartbreaking spiral of self-hatred. When he grabbed a knife to hurt himself, Ye Shuang stopped herself from rushing in. He had begged her never to intervene during his self-harm episodes. In his manic state, he might accidentally hurt her, causing him to wake up in even deeper despair. Hurting her would make him flee forever, so she forced herself to watch him bleed, feeling every ounce of his agonizing pain in her own heart.
After what felt like an eternity, he finally calmed down and regained his senses. That was her cue to step back inside.
His instant reaction is pure panic. Chen Qing scrambles to hide his arm, too terrified to look Ye Shuang in the eye as she walks up.
Ye Shuang hardens her heart and slaps him hard. Chen Qing's face whips to the side, his entire body trembling as he desperately begs for forgiveness, repeating how sorry he is and promising he will never hurt her.
He cannot even look at her, with heavy tears just splashing onto the floor. Ye Shuang grabs his collar and forces him to meet her eyes. She grabs him and yells, "What is that mouth of his even for? If he cannot bear to let her go, why not just say it?"
Why cannot he say he needs her, misses her, and loves her? Tearfully, Chen Qing repeats after her.
He keeps chanting how much he cannot let her go, how much he needs her, misses her, and loves her. Ye Shuang leans down, locking her lips with his in a tearful kiss, feeling her own nose twitch at the salty taste of his tears. Knowing this, she promises to stay 2 more days. Chen Qing's eyes instantly light up as he begs her, saying he really needs her.
He whimpers that he cannot let her go. Ye Shuang pulls in close, whispering that she understands, but he must promise to always tell her his thoughts and needs in the future so she can actually understand him.
Chen Qing squeezes her so hard it feels like he wants to merge them into one, sobbing out apologies over and over.
Honestly, this guy never actually learned how to love someone. He is freezing cold to the world but completely submissive to her because absolutely nobody ever showed him affection growing up.
When people found out he was sick, they just shunned him. Hearing Chen Qing admit he only knew how to hide while trying to look normal is low-key heartbreaking. Her heart completely shatters for him. She tells him he does not need to figure it out. He can just copy exactly how she loves him. Ye Shuang stays with him for 2 more days before she absolutely has to leave. After clinging to her like crazy, he reluctantly sends her off at the airport. When Chen Qing asks if he can transfer to her city, she shakes her head, wanting to teach him a major life lesson about self-worth. She tells him never to sacrifice his future or dreams for anyone, even her, because she loves him shining at the top, not compromising himself.
Chen Qing complains that he only wants her, but she smiles and tells him to stand at the absolute peak for her sake so they can finally meet at the top.
He stares at her for a long time before slowly nodding. She knows he will make it. After all, he was built different and conquered his past life too. But this time, she wants him to soar even higher. Even with the long distance, they make sure to meet up every single chance they get. Thanks to therapy and her continuous guidance, his mental state gets way better and his attacks fade, but he low-key starts getting bolder and bolder with what he asks of her.
He constantly begs for sweet kisses and warm hugs, using his soft puppy dog eyes to mask some seriously bold, over-the-line moves.
Right on cue, Chen Qing becomes a world-renowned genius scientist, following his past life's trajectory. Naturally, that is when his toxic father, Chen Xiaofei, crawls back, begging him to return and inherit the family empire. Chen Qing gladly agrees, but guys, it is a total trap. In 6 months, he completely hollows out his dad's power, inherits the company, and kicks the old man out.
Plus, the Song family hands over a third of their assets, as promised. Suddenly, Chen Qing is a literal billionaire cheat code, with the media hyping him up everywhere.
But the absolute first thing Chen Qing does with his massive wealth is run straight to Ye Shuang, asking if this crazy fortune is enough of a bride price to finally win her mother over. He even brings medical papers showing his mental illness is not genetic, rambling about having kids or not while she is just trying to focus on her actual company work.
Finding his constant rambling way too distracting, she shoves his face away, making his puppy dog eyes droop instantly, though he stays quiet for barely 2 minutes before whining again.
He whines that he needs her, so she gives in, helplessly kisses the corner of his mouth, and tells him to wait over there. But when she finally looks up, she completely freezes.
Sitting right across her office sofa is Chen Qing, wearing a full maid outfit and staring at her with total innocence. He grabs her hand to touch his fluffy ears, murmuring that he thought she would like it. Honestly, his intense, burning gaze is actually wild. He's totally obsessed.
He just smiles, claiming she taught him how to love, before literally transferring his entire net worth to her name. Talk about a golden retriever husband.
All of that massive wealth just to buy his way into marrying her. Her family is absolutely ecstatic, and their wedding becomes a massive, grand event that literally everyone knows about. When she asks if he has any regret about leaving his scientific research, he just kisses her, calling her his ultimate life study. Alright, so here is the extra chapter showing Chen Qing's actual point of view. He always felt like a complete monster who could only pretend to be normal so he could blend in.
He aced exams and made superficial friends just to blend in like everyone else, while his only real interest was secretly dissecting and analyzing the people around him.
But as his mental illness worsened, an accidental violent episode exposed his condition to the world, prompting his father to quickly transfer him away. Arriving at his new school, Chen Qing immediately put his normal human mask back on, pretending nothing was wrong. He did not even care who his new deskmate was at first, whether they were pretty or ugly, planning to just keep his usual polite but cold distance from them. Except this deskmate, Ye Shuang, was way too chatty to ever take a hint, constantly buzzing around him and talking until he finally had to memorize her name. During one of their casual chats, he offhandedly mentioned how much he hated when family members barged into his room without knocking. To his absolute surprise, Ye Shuang immediately went out and bought him a goofy bear doorbell, telling him it would ring whenever someone opened his door in the future.
He politely accepted it, but that opened the absolute floodgates. Suddenly, she was constantly showering him with all kinds of random, quirky little gifts.
His room was literally overflowing with her gifts, and before he knew it, Ye Shuang had completely invaded his heart. He looked up the feeling and realized it was love, but his deep-seated illness made him terrified she would run away if she knew. So he just kept acting normal while secretly obsessing over her from the shadows, feeling intense, toxic jealousy whenever she smiled or talked to other guys. But he never expected to have a sudden psychotic break right in front of Ye Shuang, making him hold his breath in terror as he went back to watch the security recording. Chen Qing is desperately researching how to make Ye Shuang accept his dark side and actually love him back, but oddly enough, he's usually a walking cheat code who can do anything, but this time he's completely stumped. Ironically, Ye Shuang tells him to just confess directly because there's no way he'll get rejected. But he thinks it's just pity, convinced he'll be rejected. So after putting Ye Shuang to sleep, he sneaks away, completely devastated. Honestly, this part is low-key heartbreaking. He starts hearing his abusive mother's voice again. He hallucinates her screaming that she brought him into this world and she'll be the one to take him out. She's begging him to die with her, screaming for Zhao Qing to join her. Driven mad by the voices, he pulls out a sharp triangular shard hidden under his bed. He slices his skin over and over, completely losing control, until suddenly, his phone buzzes. It's Ye Shuang's special ringtone, a message saying he had to head home early and asking if he's awake. Just like that. That voice completely clears away his dark thoughts. He plays the audio note on loop until a real call comes through, bringing a much warmer, lively voice. Ye Shuang asks if he's free tomorrow to check out this crazy haunted house in Su Qingxue, just the two of them. His first reaction is pure joy. But then fear sets in. To make sure he doesn't have an episode and terrify his crush, he purposely delays their meetup to grab his meds early in the morning.
But then this annoying villain Chen Xiaofei calls, making him so angry he cuts off his location and surveillance. In his rush to see Ye Shuang, he completely forgets his meds, stepping out of the car in a cold sweat.
He is terrified of being exposed, but luckily, once they enter the haunted house, Ye Shuang is literally clinging to him the entire time. He's thrilled, but his condition means excitement is a huge trigger.
Sensing he's about to lose control, he fakes being scared by a ghost to slip away and choke down his pills. He wanted to say something to him right then, but his mind is a blur.
All he knows is that Ye Shuang smells incredible and makes him feel completely safe. But then, guys, the ultimate plot twist happens. Right there, in the evening, under the warm breeze and a gorgeous sunset, Ye Shuang confesses, word by word, "I like you, Chen Qing." He's so happy he's about to explode, dying to say yes. But then Chen Xiaofei's call ruins everything. The dream is shattered, and his deep insecurities take over. He starts running, believing he doesn't deserve someone so perfect. He hides in the shadows, secretly watching as Ye Shuang desperately searches for him. Part of him is thrilled, but he's too terrified to step out, convinced he's just a monster who will hurt him. It hurts so much because he misses him terribly, but Ye Shuang actually tracks him down before he can run. His explanation is so convincing they end up moving in together. It's a dream come true, but also terrifying. Since his dark secrets are slowly coming to light, after a heated argument where Ye Shuang even hits him, he desperately wonders if this means they won't part ways, but he can't say it aloud. Ye Shuang tells him that mouths
are meant for speaking, teaching him to say aloud that he needs him, misses him, and loves him. He repeats the words and is rewarded with a kiss, a soft,
gentle, reassuring kiss. For the first time in his life, he realizes that expressing his needs brings rewards and affection, rather than the abuse and scolding he grew up with. Next, Ye Shuang teaches him to love himself. But since Chen Qing loves Ye Shuang even more, Ye Shuang tells him to do it for him, stand tall, build his own strength, so they can meet at the very top as equals. That's when he finally realizes Ye Shuang is head over heels for him too. Step by step, he learns how to love, focusing solely on him. Slowly, with Ye Shuang's help, he heals and gets better. And better. Turns out his desperate cry for help back then actually saved his life. His dream of being loved wasn't just an illusion after all. And that's the end of this masterpiece.